Since humanity first plagued this planet, they have committed acts of human sacrifice. Every region where civilization developed has had its own rituals regarding human offerings. People in the West may think of it as more endemic to tribes as it has been portrayed in movies. However, it was common amongst all cultures. For instance, in early Greece, remains of a teenager's bones were found upon an altar to Zeus at Mount Lycaon. In ancient Japan, there was a belief that altering the feng shui of the land angered the spirits. To appease the spirits, they would bury people alive during the construction of governmental buildings, castles, and such. This act was called Hitobashira, which literally translates to human pillar. Though most of these practices have been abolished in the current day, does human sacrifice still occur? Why, yes it does, my sweet deathling. Everything is ephemeral. Great change occurs over time, but there is an undercurrent of similarity from the past that can be felt. Buildings centuries ago that were living spaces and places for spectacle now are tourist attractions. Religious texts are either gone or rewritten, and so too does human sacrifice take on a new phase, that of war. You see, from our viewing, humans currently feel that they are far more civilized as they do not have public executions as offerings to the gods, yet they send young, often virgins, to lands to be murdered in wars for the elderly's bidding. Is this any different? Perhaps the masses are not made to visualize the sacrifices in their local proximity, so some can avert their gaze, yet it still takes place and perhaps for a worse cause. At least imaginary gods can sometimes be beneficial by coincidence, whereas the elderly hedonistic pedophiles in power, like the United States President, are only looking after themselves. The human philosopher René Girard believed that there is a pattern in human behavior that is critical in every aspect of their being: imitation.
Man is the creature who does not know what to desire, and he turns to others in order to make up his mind. We desire what others desire because we imitate their desires.
And a central part of his mimetic theory was the scapegoat mechanism. This explained that group anxiety in a civilization can be quelled in part by having scapegoats. He noted that only a few will ever hold the crown or positions of power, and thus be envied by the masses. To maintain the balance and not be overthrown, they must collectively unify their imitative desires against scapegoats. Let us examine this with recent history. In a press statement, the pedophile-in-chief of the United Snakes of Israel showed that the new scapegoat for the Republicans are trans people. Watch as a wise human, Kyle, dismantles this argument.
You can vote for them. You take a look, men, they want men to be able to play in women's sports. They want transgender for everybody.
I have literally never seen a clear example in my life of textbook scapegoating. I know I started an illegal war. I know Americans are dying. I know we're bombing elementary school girls. I know gas prices are skyrocketing. I know AI is taking your job. I know we just stole your healthcare by kicking 18 million people off Medicaid. I know you can't afford to live anymore. I know everything sucks ass. But you know what? The other people, did you know trans people exist? Did you know trans people exist? Isn't that it's disgusting. This is literally the trick that George W. Bush and Dick Cheney tried in 2004, I believe it was, when to get people to shut up about the Iraq War, they were like, can you believe gay people want to get married, bro? I think we should have like a constitutional amendment to ban that. Can you imagine Dave and Steve kissing each other, bro? Holding each other's hands, jacking each other off, bro? Disgusting. Vote for us. Like they did classic scapegoat, gays. This is classic scapegoat, trans people. And like, it's not going to work because people are materially suffering dinky right now. They're feeling it. And so it's so desperate. He's so fucking desperate. And low down, or deep down I should say, he knows. He knows that he's about to get absolutely draxed in these midterms.
This actually worked electorally as they won. You see, unlike gay people, trans people only affect around 1% of individuals, thus being an easier scapegoat for the woes of everyday society. Perhaps ironically, since most Christians vote Republican, the Bible was one of the earliest shifts in humanity's collective growth from using scapegoats as martyrs. As the central figure, Jesus died as a scapegoat for the violent mob, showing the injustice of collective violence. Now, what are your Death Mother's views on human sacrifice? Life is fleeting, and all shall eventually find themselves in my humble yet deathly abode. With your living vacation, we only wish that you experience a multitude of the peaks and valleys life has to offer. Is it right that recently a 20-year-old U.S. soldier died in Iran for an unjust war initiated by the U.S. and Israel? Human brains are not yet fully developed till at least the mid-20s, yet he died in youth for a system of old, greedy pedophiles and religious fanatics.
Victory, victory, victory in the corridors of heaven. For angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda aka ata raka teda baka sanda ata ambo osa kata rite eke banda ata rite didi ashata.
Hata anda ata ora bata rata ande eke manda rasata.
And his death only adds to the rising sea of demise of innocent Iranians and Palestinians in the Middle East. What are your thoughts on all this, my deathly beloved? We shall share a solution for your kind to consider. If humans have not evolved past this barbarism, then bring back the Colosseum, but force the most violent and vile criminals such as mass murderers and pedophiles to battle to the death whilst everyone else watches. If humanity needs a scapegoat to quell their collective anxiety about life, let the human sacrifice be the Epstein class. Here are the current supporters who have come to the aid of the Death Mother. David, Dyla, and Damando. Thank you kindly, my sweet angels of death. My powers grow with your deadly tribute.